All of my projects include artisanship. It is an important part of who I am, what I represent, and what the future represents for my firm. It's an investment in people. It's an investment of our future. And if we don't invest in artisanship, we would lose the handcraft and it would be lost forever. I'm Tham Kannalikham, a designer based in New York City, focused on preservation work. I became involved in preservation work because of one particular client. He wanted an investment of bringing back his family home, history, and the history of North Carolina. And so he invested in me to continue my education through going to lectures, travel abroad, and also speaking to like-minded people. My first encounter really contributing to artisanship is that I guided the client to invest in sponsorship throughout the project for them to shadow people like historic textile, like Natalie Larson, or Harrison Higgins, or any other crafts that are small and mom and pop shops. If it's an old house, we have to research the area, the architecture work, and also the family that lives in it. And then what we do is that our approach is always that if it's good architecture, you want to preserve that and you want to restore that. When we're trying to identify oldest period of a home or things like that, we often work with historians and with architects that understand historical work. It's just not my team, it's a community of people that gather together to understand one home and to make sure that it's preserved. I've been privileged enough to work with a lot of great artisans. One in particular is historic textile. Natalie Larson, who does historical work for all institutions like the likes of White House, Mount Vernon, Monticello. She's been part of my project, collaborating on drapery, bed hangings, and the collaboration between us is much better than not collaborating with someone who doesn't understand historic home. I've learned so much, and my team have learned so much through her and her academic approach. But also, we collaborated on a project where we brought Rose Hill Studio. Both of these are female-owned businesses. They come from different worlds, but because the project entails a historical home and also a new addition. So bringing these two ladies to learn from another was such a beautiful relationship and collaboration. From the earlier years of my career, I was very lucky to have a client that really understood preservation, investing in people, and have invested in me along the way. And so that became my mission also. But when you come across clients who don't have that mission or ethos, you have to educate the client to understand that there is an investment of people in a home, especially when you're buying an old home and you're restoring it, that this becomes part of the story of a home and also part of your story. And so education comes with teaching them that artisan, like someone who does historic textile or furniture making, you have to invest in the story for them and build relationships so that they're connected to the people that are creating what design that goes into a home. Guiding a client to invest in certain things or area is very loose. If a client is buying an old homes, you would normally advise them to invest in protecting and preserving architecture structure. When you're buying a new home, investing in certain things or area is their prerogative, but what you want to do is guide them to invest in what makes sense, that will make and break the house or design, I often choose to invest in architecture is because having good bones is a lot easier to design with. Of course, there are bad designs back then also, and those are the things that you sort of do not want to celebrate. What I often do is that I layer on art, fabric, furniture to an old space and creating a layer of the current family. Good design lasts forever. It's not a trend. So good scale and proportion is always something that we strive for, is because if you don't have that, it's very hard to make a room look good. I think the misconception of artisanships is that people don't have a vehicle to find those local talents. Finding local talent, it's more about collaborating and talking to the local people, and also getting references from your colleagues that have worked there before. We have to have the community be part of the project, and it becomes very important to it. Talents come from all over the place. It's not just New York City, it's not Los Angeles, it's just not Paris and London, it's everywhere. As long as you kind of hone down on their technique and what they can do, you bring them along through your design and they can execute the vision. I am one of the founder of TED Mentorship Program, which is a program that is geared towards young ladies who would want to invest or want to be part of design, architecture, or building. I partner up with Liz Graziola from Yellow House Architect and Dana Rains from Highline. They spend each summer with us 2 to 3 weeks in design, 2 to 3 weeks in architecture, and 2 to 3 weeks in construction. It speaks volume of knowledge for the young future to understand the collaboration between the three of us, and also educating them the start of a project to a finished product. My focus is on showing people the relationship of vendors and their process and what they do, and also color theory, and also project management. They will visit vendors at their location and also go on site visits with us to see the project. It becomes very personal to them, and they're invested in the material or the design of the home and what these artisans are creating for them. They are also invested in a way that it becomes their story also, and then the artisans become their family story. It is not about my design. It is about creating a home that feels good to this client, but also telling a story about the client.